Mount Carmel High School, the venue for a spirited forum on the Belize-Guatemala referendum, was alive with educators from across the country. Primary school teachers, almost 1,000 by rough estimate, were on hand for presentations by Foreign Minister Wilfred Elrington and Ambassador Assad Shoman. Both are knowledgeable on the age-old issue, which is centered around a territorial claim, and were more than willing to impart that wisdom with a captive audience. Elrington, during the open discussion, addressed a difference in views among members of the UDP administration when it comes to the Belize-Guatemala dispute.
Members of my government speak differently about issues. For example, in the Kanaki issue, there were members in my government, the head of the police and others, even ministers, were saying, I'm certain that it is the Guatemalans that killed Kanaki. My position was, if you bring me the evidence, I will say that. But if I don't have the evidence, I can't say it. Because I don't have responsibility only for the Belizean people, but if I go to the international community to ask for assistance for Belize, I have to be credible. We can't play the boy that played wolf. You remember what happened to that boy that played wolf, who cried wolf? When the wolf really came and ate him, nobody answered. Because you can't cry wolf. And you can't be perceived as troublemakers. That's what Assad ended with almost. We can't be seen by the international community as troublemakers.
Admittedly, Shoman and Elrington are of different opinions where it concerns their approach to dealing with the territorial dispute at a diplomatic level. Elrington is in favor of maintaining an amicable and peaceful existence with Guatemala, a position he was criticized for by teachers in the gathering.
There is tremendous harm that can come to us if the Guatemalans are for our enemies. They can simply, their officials can simply turn a blind eye and let them people come across. And there are millions of them. And lots of them have military training and military weapons. They are dying for land. They are dying for the resources. Have you heard all the things that Assad said they are taking from us? Well, were it not for the assistance that we get from the Guatemalan Defense Force, military, and the cooperation we have at government level, the situation would have been very, very much worse. Very, very much worse. So to keep us safe, we have got to have a good relationship with them. The same kind of relationship which exists between us and Mexico.
This forum today has really, really taught me a lot about this issue. In addition to that, I would like to add that I do agree that we are taking a stand. Simply by being here, we're educating ourselves in whether we should go to the ICJ or not is a stand. And I agree 100% as well that the pen is mightier than the sword. Having said that, just a worst case scenario that, okay, we go to the ICJ and they rule against us or they rule for us. And Guatemala, we know, like everybody says, is a bully. Where will we get the military support from to defend our country in case that happens? I know that Mr. Elrington just mentioned that we have gotten support from Central America and all those other areas, but I mean, is there an international campaign going on to, educate the international community to support our cause? Because I'm not aware of that. So I would like to know, is there a community a committee that's out in the international community trying to gain support for the Belize cause?
Do we have right now a national team out there doing this work? No, we don't. We have our ambassadors. We have a good man now in Washington, Mr. Andrews. We have a good person in Cuba, we have etc. Good people everywhere. But I personally feel that more is needed. And I think I agree with you, more is needed. And I think we should form a national team like we had before, because I think they get as urgent as before. I understand that in the last 2 years we've been trying, we've been friendly and so on, and things, we never need that. But now we need it, because you see what's happening for the first time in, I don't know about it, and I think the Prime Minister has said the same. First time that Guatemala is saying in official notes that the whole of the SARS tool is theirs, and that we have asked permission to go there. Never has that happened, so there was a new situation.
The discourse included emotional as well as well thought out views on the Belize-Guatemala issue. One such observation came from Mario Rodriguez, a Belize City teacher.
Prior to coming here, I had purged my mind of any biases I have leaning towards ICJ or not. In other words, I came here to get information. I was disappointed to hear you take two hats because initially I wanted to hear just a neutral historical perspective. And I think you merged both of them, so you left me with a little more questions. I would have suggested that maybe it's best you did not declare it and then hold the seat and come up and speak afterward. But it seems that you've addressed both in one. Now, in your comments, in the final analysis, it seems to me that your perspective, the opposition's perspective, and the government's perspective is that we should go to the ICJ. All right? I respect that. But I will say that in the same breath that you spoke, you said sarcastically that liars don't lie, and that we have an expert team of liars who will take us through to the ICJ. Now we are teachers, all right? And yes, while we take opinions, we need to know more. So this one is for Brother Luke. We want to get more deeper into the liars' perspective to hear why they are so sure that we will win this thing, and maybe we will come out and get along.
I have, for the last 8 years, been saying to the Foreign Minister that anytime you need me, I'm at their disposal. However, they never use me in negotiations with Guatemala. And just before this thing happened, when I said this thing that the leader of the opposition asked me to represent him, I went to the office of the Foreign Minister and I said, please, I'm here to be used. Use me for any negotiations with the Guatemala. Not accepted. So when the leader of the opposition asked me to be there, I accept it because I feel I have the kind of experience and knowledge from the past, and I've studied that. I've studied this a lot, that I could be useful, and so I accepted that, and I'm glad I did.
Among the most pertinent and relevant questions asked is the financial cost that the country would have to incur in seeking legal representation at the ICJ. Minister Ellington's response includes the fact that Belize and Guatemala will now have to find resources to fund the OAS office at the adjacency zone.
The cost of defending Belize, really, the taxpayers of Belize can't generate the wealth to do it. It's very, very expensive to maintain the public service, teaching services. It takes millions and millions and millions of dollars. To go to the ICJ also will take quite a few dollars. But because the international community is so concerned that this matter is settled, we are relying and depending upon the international community, both to finance the education campaign that we are now doing, to finance the OAS office, as well as to finance going to the International Court of Justice. So that cost will not come out of Belize's taxpayers because we just don't have the money to pay. It's very expensive. But it is an exceedingly important cost because the value of ending this claim is priceless. So that is what Ambassador Schumer is talking about. He makes reference to having a team to go and in fact internationalize it with a view to getting our partners internationally to be aware of what is going on and to get their sympathy to support us financially and otherwise. That is something that we continue to work on, and that is something that we will continue to work on until the matter is clear. But it's not local people who are going to have to find monies. Very, very expensive. As it is now, we are working to get the money for the OAS, and we have not come to the local taxpayer. That's $2.5 million US.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.